'cause she's a Jezebel. St. Andrew Jezebel, 'cause she's a Jezebel. St. Andrew Jezebel.
Well, hey, y'all. Thank you so much for pressing play on the latest episode of the St. Andrews Jezebel Podcast, the show where we celebrate all things historic St. Andrews. Today, we're meeting with local artist Dollie Jewel. She's recently returned to the Panhandle and is now volunteering with Floriopolis, creating several of the micro art installations in St. Andrews. So I'm super excited for you to hear our conversation. If you've been enjoying the podcast and would like to show your support, you can make a one-time donation on our Ko-fi page. I'll include it in the show notes below. Also, you might notice that the podcast is currently 100% listener-supported. For a more enhanced experience, please follow the podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And if you want to show your support, share this episode with all your salty friends. I want to again thank Dollie for being on the show, and I hope you enjoy our talk. Well, y'all sit back, relax, grab your favorite beer, and enjoy the show. Today we are here with Dollie Monster, and I'm so excited to meet her. And so, Dollie, thank you for being here. Thank you for coming to the Bay County Public Library. How did you get into making art?
I've been making art since I was a kid. It was the number one thing that I wanted to be when I grew up, and my parents weren't always, supportive of it. They wanted me to have a 9-to-5 job, and that wasn't for me as a person. I remember my dad telling me one time that I'd never make money as an artist, and that kind of fueled me to do that. I just remember making art as a kid and that just being my number one favorite thing to do. I took art classes all throughout high school, elementary school, and middle school. There wasn't a year that I missed an art class, and that was the only thing that kept me going to school. So, yeah, it was definitely the only thing I wanted to do growing up, and so I became an artist.
I relate to that so much because I remember being a student in high school, and that's all I wanted to do was play music. I'm a professional musician, and I had one of my parents that very much tried to discourage me from doing that as a profession, and the rebel within me.
Yeah, that instinctual rebelness, I totally understand.
Yes, I can see you're a wildflower as well. Mm-hmm. And it just makes you want to do it even more.
It really does, honestly. I think it's the naysayers that always push me harder.
Absolutely. And so when you were a kid, what kind of medium did you enjoy the most?
Oh, crayons were the best. I used to make paper dolls all the time, and I would make them clothes, and I would even make them houses made out of paper and stuff. It was wild. I still want to make paper dolls, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
I know I'm a bit older than you, but we should have been friends when we were little because I played with paper dolls. I absolutely loved them. And it would be so cool to see a collection of paper doll fashion that is meant for all ages, really.
Yeah, that's what I want to do so bad. So I'm going to make some paper dolls soon and sell them as prints or either reusable stickers and do that. I think it'd be really fun.
So now, how would you describe the art that you create, and what's your favorite medium now as an adult?
Okay, so I would say technically my stuff is very traditional tattoo inspired, creepy, cute, kind of kawaii and pastel. I just kind of pull inspiration from a lot of things that I loved as a child and pop culture. And other than that, my mediums of choice right now are acrylic on wood. It's just my favorite thing ever. And then I've been using acrylic for muraling recently, and it's been a blast.
Really, really cool. I don't know much about painting, but I know that I like acrylic paint because it's just so vibrant.
Yeah, it really is. And even using liquid acrylic, which is kind of more like ink, it's still really vibrant, but it washes out like watercolor. It's really cool.
Speaking of muraling, you mentioned you're fresh off the job site. What have you been working on?
Yeah, I'm working on a mini mural for Floriopolis right now. It's part of a 6-part panel on the back of a building beside the hobo. And it's me and 5 other artists. and we're all doing something different that speaks to us. So it's no theme or anything, which is really fun. We all have creative freedom, which with public arts, usually you have a theme that you have to follow, and it's like, keep it PG. So with this, we got to just do whatever we wanted, and it's really fun.
That does sound fun. When will it be ready for passersby to see?
It's almost finished, actually. I think I'm going to go out tomorrow and do the finishing touches. 5 other artists, and we're all doing something different that speaks to us. So it's no theme or anything, which is really fun. We all have creative freedom, which with public arts, usually you have a theme that you have to follow. And it's like, yesterday I worked on it for about 5 or 6 hours and put in probably 4 hours today. So maybe like an hour or 2 tomorrow.
Cool. So if I'm understanding, in proximity-wise, is it on the same building as the mural that Morgan did with the Keep Sanders Salty building?
It's right beside that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's on the plywood panels right beside it.
Oh, very cool. So I looked at your artwork on your Instagram, and I feel a little better because you affirm that it is reminiscent of tattoo art to a certain extent. Have you created designs for tattoos before?
I have. That's a lot of my commission designs are for tattoos or are relative to tattoos. Like, I've designed tattoos for my brother, for my mom, family members, random clients. It's kind of like what I want to do when I grow up. So hopefully soon I can find an apprenticeship after I get done with all my public works and start tattooing, or at least get in a shop.
Well, how cool is that? What inspired you for your love of tattoo art?
Honestly, growing up, my parents both are pretty heavily tattooed. My dad's an artist, and he used to draw all of his tattoos. So I would sit there and watch him tape paper to our old TV and trace it. Like, it was so inspiring. So whenever I got older and started getting tattooed, I realized that it was something that I really wanted to do. And not just really, it was like a passion of mine. So for the last, I say 3 years, I've been really knuckling down on getting my portfolio perfect and really working on like my design elements and everything, making sure my line work is crisp as possible and making sure my work is approachable to tattoo artists.
Well, I really liked what I saw, and that's a great description, as it's cute, but it's like slightly dark as well.
Yeah, I like to play on that juxtaposition.
That's a good word for it. And so you recently moved back from Atlanta. What's the art scene like up there in comparison to here?
Oh, it's totally different. I mean, there's a lot of graffiti going on in Atlanta and a lot of public works, which they're trying to bring that into Bay County, which I really love and enjoy. I'm so happy that I get an opportunity to be there too, working on it. But yeah, no, in Atlanta, it's a lot more. Like, all the galleries there are really cool. There's just a lot of younger generation there. So there's a lot of cooler art.
They're hip.
They are. They're a little bit more hip. I think Panama City has a little bit of an older generation with artists, and that's awesome. I am totally for it because they help the younger generation learn. But I think that, yeah, Atlanta, it's a lot more of a youthful art group, and the graffiti itself is just something to behold in itself. I can't even describe how inspiring it is seeing people tagging in the middle of the night. Like, that's what they do. They'll wake up and go in the middle of the night to tag trains and stuff, or they'll climb overpasses, and it's just the craziest stuff. It's kind of like an I Spy game of trying to find like weird places where people put tags. It's really fun.
I know that the micro muraling is a little different, but it's somewhat reminiscent of that. How would you describe the micro art that is going on in St. Andrews right now and in the near future?
Right now, we're trying to do our best to showcase a bunch of different art styles and different artists. We have some realistic little birdies, and we have a little octopus. And then we have my cartoon daisies that I just finished not too long ago. And those are really cute. They were Murakami inspired. So that also brings in that like Japanese anime style, which I really love. I think that they're really beneficial to St. Andrews and the surrounding businesses because it actually brings attention and kind of beautifies the whole city and adds a little bit of interest and intrigue. Makes it unique.
You said the word that I hoped you would say, and that's beautify.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in St. Andrews, and I have a deep-seated love for it. But admittingly, it's not always been the most beautiful place in some spots. And to take a unique piece of art and to put that in a place that folks might have otherwise overlooked is really fascinating and admirable. Do you have any hints of where we might be able to look up or down or sideways or wherever where we might catch some of these micro arts?
Definitely keep your eyes low. Right now, most of them are close to the ground. But yeah, just down Beck Avenue on the street where most of the shops are. I think you would be able to find some of them there. I'm going to put one beside Sunjammers with Heather Parker soon, too. I'm going to start working on that after I finish my mini mural.
That's going to be fun. So what do you think? We were just talking about Atlanta. Of course, that's a metropolis compared to here. Yeah. It's not even fair to compare the two because it's just two different things. What do you think that it will take to grow the local art scene here in Bay County?
Honestly, I think the art scene in Bay County is where it's at. In Atlanta, it's a lot more competitive and it's more of like that little fish, big pond vibe. So in Bay County, everybody's, what's the word? I would say supportive of each other. So there's other artists and everybody's kind of really nice to each other. Unlike Atlanta, artists aren't very nice to other artists because they think it's competition. So here, everybody realizes that people do different things and everybody has strong suits and weaknesses, and there's a beauty to having a team of artists that do a bunch of different things, and there's nothing like that in Atlanta, which is crazy.
For sure, and that's one of the things that I love about St. Andrews, too, is that we are super community-oriented. We're very inclusive.
That's what I love, too.
Whether it's visual art or music or theater or whatever it is, folks are encouraging and welcoming, and we mostly work to build each other up. I've been a volunteer at Floriopolis for a few years. How'd you find Floriopolis?
I found Floriopolis because I was working at the old vintage store that was beside it when it was where Bourbon Barrel was. And I started volunteering there after I used their bathroom as a dressing room all the time. So I would like basically be modeling for Gigi, and then I would go into Floriopolis and be like, Heather, I'm going to use your bathroom to change. And through there, she was just like, why don't you just come volunteer on the days you're not working? And I'd be like, okay. I did some studio days there too, whenever I was a small little artist and didn't really have any art supplies or any means to buy art supplies. So it was really helpful too at that time. And they were just very supportive of me getting in there and making art as much as I possibly could. And it was really fun too, because I got to work with like special needs kids and help with classes and stuff like that. And Floriopolis was kind of like a far cry from what it is now. So we would have like a bunch of people in there to facilitate. It was just really fun. But yeah, I found them from working right beside there. And ever since then, it was kind of just one of those places that mesmerized me. It's one of a kind.
And going back to the whole community thing, Floriopolis was your then neighbor and hectic eclectic. So I really miss it in the old space, but I see potential in the new space. It's going to take people to be there and be there consistently to keep it going, because it really is a wonderful thing, and the sky's the limit if people just be there.
Yeah, really.
What's it like to paint on exteriors?
It's so hard. It's so hot outside right now, and that makes it all even harder because you have to keep in mind of like what kind of textures you're painting on. So like if it's brick or stucco or plywood like I've been working on, and there's just so many textures, and especially if you're doing bold line work like tattoo work, it's nearly impossible to get a straight line. So it's been honestly a great challenge because it's furthering my skills as a artist, and it's really been a blast. But exteriors are so hard to paint because of the heat, the weather, the bugs. Yeah, it's crazy. But honestly, it's so satisfying though, because at the end of the day, you see something that's not typically in nature and it kind of just sticks out to you and is like, wow, look at that.
Absolutely. It's a visual adventure, and I can't wait to see more. We're coming up on the month of June very soon. What are your creative intentions for the next month or so?
So I actually have a band I just started called Apology Cake. I play lead guitar and vocals. But yeah, we've been trying to get together and do some shows at Floriopolis. I'm going to start trying to produce shows to have late night at Floriopolis, and I think that'll be really fun to do. Other than that, I'm trying to get all these murals done, which is really fun. And I'm kind of wanting to go into just a music mode for the next couple of months, because I have been painting nonstop for the last 5 months. So I'm kind of bored with it a little bit. I want to switch gears.
How exciting to learn that you're so multifaceted. Tell me more about, you said Apology Cake. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Tell me more about that. What's it going to sound like ideally?
So it's a all-female punk band.
Woo.
Yeah. Honestly, just really angsty. Lots of noise, really loud. It's kind of a cathartic thing for all three of us. It's really just kind of a big FU to a lot of the people in the community that haven't been quite fair to women in the past. So it's been really excited working on it, and I love writing. So it's one of those things I get to write for, and I get to be a little silly with it too. So it's really fun, and I've been honestly so excited to share the work that we've been doing. So we actually just made an Instagram. You can follow it at Apology Cake on Instagram. We don't have hardly anything on there yet, but we do have a few band practice snippets. But yeah, it's been really exciting. And honestly, it's been a dream of mine to do a all-female punk band, because it's 90% of the music I listen to. So yeah, it's been pretty dang awesome.
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited because
excited too.
I was once in an all-girl band. We weren't a punk band. We played all kinds of stuff. We played reggae, we played rock and roll, we played all kinds of stuff.
That's exciting.
We were called the Sweater Puppets, but that was the time of my life.
Yeah, we have so much fun. Honestly, my best friends too are my bandmates. So it's the time to be alive, honestly.
Well, fantastic. Stick with that, and I am going to follow you and see how that progresses. Now, whether it's music or painting or any kind of art, really, where do you look for inspiration?
Oh, I look for inspiration everywhere. I'm kind of one of those people that says, make everything you do art. And so I find inspiration in nature, on Pinterest of all things. I mean, scrolling through Instagram. And honestly, I take a lot of inspiration from the 90s and TV, pop culture, and music, because that's a lot of the media that I consume. So I kind of flip that on its head and turn it around and make art out of it, which is really fun.
That's exciting. So you've returned to St. Andrews. You're natively from here and you've come back. Do I understand that right?
I'm from Atlanta originally, and then we moved down here when I was about 3 or 4.
Okay.
And then I moved back to Atlanta when I was 17 after I graduated from Bay High, and recently just moved back in February.
Oh, right. Well, awesome. I also graduated from Bay High. Stay high.
Stay high, stay high.
That's right. So what do you love about St. Andrews?
Everything. Honestly, after traveling and stuff, I just keep coming back to it. Because it's one of the places that I grew up. So it's got that small town feel, but also it's got the nightlife and the charm of a downtown area, which is a big thing for me as an artist. I mean, as a youngin', I just love being out and about and the weird faces and the characters and stuff. During the day, it's also just such a beautiful place. Like, the sunsets and the marina. I love walking down to the beach during my breaks. It's so peaceful and calm comparatively to Atlanta, which is utter chaos all the time. So it's a really nice change of pace.
It absolutely is. And how do you hope to see St. Andrews evolve?
Honestly, I'm just so excited to see more art and more community. I've been trying to get more artists to come through Floriopolis, especially a younger crowd, just because I want that fresh perspective. And I think it'll bring something really cool and edgy to St. Andrews, which I think it's kind of lacking a little bit.
Yeah, we're supposed to be salty. Until we is edgy. We need you.
Yeah, we need that sass.
Absolutely. All right, Dollie. Well, thank you so much for being here at the Bay County Public Library Digital Media Collab. It's been so nice to meet you and hear what you're up to. I hope to see you and see everything you're doing progress and do well. How can folks reach you online and beyond for commission work or just to see and enjoy your art and find out more about you?
You can find me on Facebook at Dollie Jewel, on Instagram at Dollie's Monsters or Dollie Monster, and through email. And you can find my email on my DMs.
Well, fantastic. Folks, check her out. Follow her artistic journey. And until next time, keep St. Andrews salty. One of the best things about St. Andrews is that you can see live music every day. That's right. There is live music being played somewhere in St. Andrews 7 nights a week. Fortunately, my friend Ken Schaefer creates and publishes a weekly schedule for St. Andrews as well as most of Bay County. Ken's spreadsheet schedule is updated often when there's any changes. Ken also shares individual music events and is walking the walk and talking the talk when it comes to supporting live music. Not only does Ken supply the music schedules, but he attends several music performances a week and takes fantastic photos of the musicians. As a working musician myself, I feel blessed to have Ken and his wife Donna as treasured members of our local musical family. Make sure you like and follow Ken's page, Salty Sounds in St. Andrews, and Oh Boy Music on Facebook, so that you'll always know where all the live music will happen. Thank you so much, Ken, for everything you do. All right, here's our community events. First off, I'd like to encourage everyone to follow Stone Loft Boat Shop on social media. They are a group of St. Andrews boat builders motivated by historical wooden sailboat preservation and maritime education. They will be moving the Governor's Stone back to St. Andrews this Thursday, May 19th at 10 a.m., and I believe they will be live streaming this from their Facebook page. If you need some comedy in your life, then on May 19th, it's Third Thursday Comedy with Panama City Comedy. Panama City Comedy presents regional and national touring comedians at the House of Bourbon. Tickets are $10. I think the show starts at 7:30, but you might want to check the page to be sure. The Market at St. Andrews has moved to its new home at Oaks by the Bay. They moved there back on May 7th. There's plenty of parking at the St. Andrews Marina and in the public parking lot behind Thai Basil. There'll be music coming from the Taproom and really something for everyone. Go out and enjoy the Market at St. Andrews every Saturday, starting at, I believe, 9, and I think they wrap up around 1. I highly recommend you take the historic walking tour with Ellen, and I believe the tours meet every Monday and Wednesday at 1 at the Publishing Museum. Coming up this Sunday, last week's guest, Corey Hall, is playing music for you at Taproom May 22nd from 5 to 8 p.m. Floriopolis presents a new art in public spaces on Janie's Fence. This is the Songspirations exhibit. All of the paintings are by local artists and are inspired by song lyrics. I hope you'll be inspired to take a stroll down Beck Avenue and enjoy the exhibit as well as all the local shops and restaurants. And if you're able to donate to the next Fence exhibit, it's up in 2 months, the folks at Floriopolis would really appreciate it. Floriopolis is a nonprofit and is run entirely by art and community-loving volunteers. And on May 28th, our friend Sandi Marlisa will be having a book signing for her new release, Fire Flurries, which is at Little Village from 1 to 3, and then another at Taproom May 29th, also from 1 to 3. That's all the community events I've got for this week. Tune in next week for more. Thank y'all so much for listening to Season 3, Episode 7 of the St. Andrews Jezebel Podcast. I need to let you in on some news. Facebook is no longer a podcast platform. By June, I believe all the podcast features will be gone. Unfortunately, if you're subscribed to the podcast on Facebook, you will no longer be able to listen to the episodes there. But all episodes since the very beginning are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and pretty much all the major platforms. So now's a good time to subscribe so that you'll always be up to date when I publish new episodes on Thursdays. As always, if you'd like to support the podcast, please visit our Ko-fi page where you can make a one-time donation. Our theme song was written by me and recorded by Dave Schwartz on the campus of Gulf Coast State College. The rest was written by me and recorded in my music room, and this week's interview was recorded at the Bay County Public Library Digital Media Collab. We'll see y'all next week. We've got Sandi Marlisa here to talk about her new book, Fire Flurries, which is due out very soon. And until next time, keep St. Andrews salty.